Hello.
Welcome back. Discussion time. Yeah, I mean, this is the fourth one. You guys know the drill by now. We're gonna go through the twilights and all that sort of thing, and I'm gonna have some questions to ask you. There's a bunch of extra stuff. We're in the Golden Land, and there's a music box. If you go to the tips, there's some weird stuff. There's some extra bits and pieces.
I am so excited for this episode's tips. We barely got anything this time.
It's true. Oh my god.
Look at
stuff.
all of this.
Now, I don't know, do you want to read through all this right now?
This is amazing.
There's a lot of stuff here.
Alrighty.
Oh my god.
Let's not do silly voices for this shit, but let's read through it.
Yep.
So, Mariage Sorcière, an alliance of witches formed by Lady Maria, the Witch of Origins, and Lady Beatrice, the Endless Witch. Together they created a groundbreaking magical compendium which brought an immense influx of strength to Beatrice's once declining magical power. It's probably safe to say that the formation of this alliance allowed Beatrice to gain the endless power in its truest sense. According to its first clause, member witches must acknowledge each other and respect each other's magic. Young Angie did receive an invitation to join this alliance at one point, but she was later excommunicated. Magical compendium, you go.
Magical compendiums. This term refers to a foundation that gives birth to magic. In particular, it indicates a system through which magical power can be gained automatically by sharing. For witches, committing one's magical compendium to paper and leaving it behind for future generations is often considered to be an important life's work. However, the more fearsome the power of a magical compendium, the harder it is to comprehend and share with others. An easily learned magical power may be easy to share, but such magical compendiums are doomed to end up as a little more than good luck charms, and that are eventually forgotten. The essence of sorcery is maintaining a balance between these two outcomes when leaving a magical compendium left behind for later generations.
Grimoire. Simply put, any time a magical compendium is written down to be passed on to later generations, the result is a grimoire. It is said that today the most famous grimoire in the world has a history of over 2,000 years and is still in circulation, acquiring new alliance members even now. It is forbidden to speak the true name of that grimoire, so it is simply called Book.
What could they be referring to?
My immediate guess is...
If you don't get it on the first try, I'm disappointed because there's been fucking symbolism from this all through the story.
Okay, now I'm concerned.
What did you think it was?
My initial guess... I guess I had two guesses.
What's your first one?
My initial guess was that it was going to be the Ars Goetia, or whatever it was.
Maybe actually. Remember that.
The other one was fucking Divine Comedy.
Alright. Cool.
I don't know the names of any literary works off the top of my head that have been referenced.
Okay.
Other than those. I don't know if we've mentioned Ars Goetia on this before. I kind of found it more recently when I was looking up something for completely unrelated reasons, and I'm like, oh, that's Garp.
Yeah.
It's like, I know those names.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Oh, there's 72 of them. Oh, it's this one.
Well, there you go. Cool.
That's my guess.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's called Book, though. I feel like I'm probably missing something.
So, it's actually not a bad guess. Personally, I would say it's referring to the Bible.
Really?
Because there's been, like, references to it all the way through the entire story.
You have to remember, I may have mentioned this before, but my religious education as far as the Bible goes is just a load of shit.
Okay. Well,
we would get to the end of, like, English exams in high school, and I'd come out and I'd be like, man, that was a really tough one. What did you guys write about? And they're like, what about all the Bible allusions? And I'm like...
So I'll tell you why, because first off, 2,000 years, we're in 2000 AD.
Yeah, that was probably pretty obvious.
There also has been, Beata was crucified. There's been a couple of other allusions. Maria obviously has a cross on her name. And there was one time when Beatrice was talking about the single man who showed people love, which is something we haven't talked about
and
in
I
the
missed
story,
it that time as well.
Yeah, I was, hoping you would figure it out, because I thought you had more exposure, but that's cool.
The number one weakness in every literary text that I ever stumble across is biblical references.
I mean, I don't think that you need to know the Bible to understand this, but it's clearly everywhere.
Yeah.
I need to sit down and, figure it out.
It is.
Because there's clearly some religious stuff.
If you ever see a biblical reference to me in the story, can you please just point it out?
The one that jumps out at me is this whole talk about how magic works, how, believing in magic, having love for magic is similar to, believing in a religion, in a sense. That's definitely one that jumps out at me. That's everywhere in the story. I'd have to go through and double check them, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what this is referring to. Anyway,
I can confidently agree with you on that one.
Yeah,
but as I've said,
if we're wrong, let us know in the comments. I mean, straight up.
That is probably my greatest weakness as a reader of any literary work.
Yeah, that's cool.
Beatrice's
titles. As a witch, Beatrice holds two titles, Golden and Endless. These originally came from separate magical compendiums, so it can be said she wields the power of two compendiums. The title of Endless Witch has its foundation in endless creation and is the root of her unmatched endless magical power. The title of Golden Witch has its foundation in the realization of magic, a magical power that can materialize imaginary precious metals, providing the miracle of manifestation to all less tangible forms of magic. Those two titles were refined even further within Marriage Sorcière, leading to the sublimation to the compendium known as Endless Realization. In that sense, she technically shouldn't be referred to as either the Endless Witch or the Golden Witch, but by a new title there's a fusion of the two. Cool.
Regarding witches, the definition of a witch is vague, but according to the generally accepted theory, one becomes a witch at the moment they gain possession of a power surpassing the boundaries of humans that they can use at will. The world or fragment in which they can use their power freely is known as their territory. Most witches cannot leave their territory at will, but those who can travel freely across the world of fragments are called voyagers. In the story, Bone Castle and Lambda Delta belong to this special category.
Yeah, cool.
Interesting.
Regarding voyages, worlds of different fates and circumstances are called fragments, and witches capable of crossing the ocean of endless fragments are called voyagers. It is also a title used to indicate a high-order witch, and witches limited to their own territories cannot compare to their power. However, perhaps because they don't have well-defined territories of their own, their values are ever-changing, and it's easy for their souls to become vague and insubstantial. It isn't uncommon for this to result in them turning into scraps of seaweed in the fragment ocean and fading away. Their voyage has no destination, and you might even say they're on a journey to escape a destination. Witches of an even higher order than voyagers are called creators. And then we got fucking creators.
Creators are sacred beings who can create one out of the sea of nothingness. They can give birth to one from zero, give birth to the endless, and then return it to zero again in a flash. They are freed from all restrictions, and voyagers sometimes even call them gods. In that sense, the Witch of Origins, Maria, is a chosen girl fated to become a creator. All voyagers fear that the destination of their own journeys is becoming a creator. As to why they would fear advancing to the status of a higher order being, only they themselves can comprehend the answer.
Great question. Why would you fear advancement to a higher state being? I don't know. Who knows?
Good question.
Great questions. I think you could make some guesses. Yeah. Cool.
I mean, we read through all of these pretty recently, except
That's
this
okay.
one. But I mean,
Take
we've seen Assure Me a Battle Went to Hell, Embraced by the Witch. But to the witch, what the hell was the Golden Land?
What the hell was the Golden Land?
That hell was the Golden Land. Sorry, yeah. I can read.
Yeah, I mean, we've read through all the humans recently, and I think we need to go through them. It's the supernatural creatures that I'm most interested in. I'll show you an Easter egg once we've looked through a couple of them. I don't know, what ones haven't we read? Can you execute any of these people? If you hit execute? Oh, Marie can. She turned... Oh, and Takatara, obviously. But yeah, I mean, we've seen all this before. I think. Yeah, we've seen this. Yeah, I mean, there is one Easter egg I can show you. Actually, an achievement for this. So go to the Chiesa Sisters. Start clicking through them. Keep going. There she is. She has the 556, a weapon of the Sisters Cavalry, which serves Pendragon. 556 was quiet and often teased, but she was loved by everyone. However, her luck was always bad, and she met a tragic end in battle against the Black Witch. She was a cutting-edge weapon, unique in the Sisters Cavalry, which tended to serve as honor guards. 556 was in charge of squad fire support. She shot not to kill, but to protect her allies. Now hit that resurrect button. There she is. She has a 556, a quiet girl who's always teased by everybody, but that's because everyone loves her. The trumpet is her specialty. Everyone skips her lively tune. Now, that also gets you the final achievement of the game, Trumpet Blues. She was killed tragically in a battle with the Black Witch.
I see.
Yeah.
I assume Rosa.
I mean, if your assumption that the Chiesas are the rabbit creatures is correct, then yeah, Rosa smashed one of the 4 rabbits in the collection, in the marching band. It would imply that this was she.
There you go.
Yeah.
556, 410.
There was some weird numbers. There was some weird numbers. I ain't gonna say nothing.
Where's 00? 00.
Yeah.
Wait, where is...
556.
Ben.
What? How are you?
Ben.
What's going on?
Why don't you just put a little dot right here?
What? Why would I put a dot there?
Why
I don't know
would
what
you
you
put
could
a
be referring
little
to.
dot right
What
there?
would these numbers? What?
Oh my god! I can't believe it took me so long to fucking put that together.
This is perfect. I don't know what you could be referring to. 556
Ben, they're
00.
calibers. It's a fucking. We're fucking buckshot.
What are you talking about? She's a magical.
I don't know what
magical
410 is,
creature.
but then in 45.
45?
It's a fucking pistol.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, how did that take me so long?
Nice work, my dude. I believe in you. I told you you get it.
You were like, it'll hit you like a ton of bricks, and I was like, the rabbit thing, and you're like, there you go, you were hit by half a ton of bricks, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, like, where's the other half? Nailed it, though. Congratulations.
Ton of bricks!
Here
it comes!
I mean, what do the cheerses do? They fucking shoot people.
I cannot believe
that's
that
literally
took
what they
me
do.
so long to put together.
But yeah. Still don't know who Garp is, though.
Nope, we do not know who
He's
Garp
the only
is.
character who doesn't seem to have a explicit connection to anything.
Nope.
Oh, actually, while we're here, I want to pick your brain, and by pick your brain, I mean bring up a red truth.
Sure.
Shit, I closed it. But Sakatara, what was your theory about Sakatara and why he could be revived?
That he was, perhaps store-bought.
Okay, hold on. That stuffed animal is a special stuffed animal made by Rosa for her daughter's birthday.
I think, between me saying that in the last couple of videos, and right now, I did remember that I'd had that thought before.
Sure.
Like, when Sakatara first was presented, I was like, oh, it's gonna be some bullshit like Rosa didn't actually make him, but then I remember we got that truth earlier.
Yep, we know that Rosa made him, and yet Angie was able to revive Sakatara.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you might still be able to come up with a theory, though, if you think about it a little bit. There might be some hints you could go back and look through.
I don't know.
Winks aggressively at the camera.
I wouldn't do it right now, though, because I am like...
I know.
I'd just sit here spitballing until something was like,
I know, that's okay.
Because that's normally how my theorizing goes.
Because I didn't want to do it at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could tell, but I'm a little, like, emotionally done in general, but...
Dude,
Jesus.
you've been a little spent ever since Angie died.
It's true. Ever since Angie died.
What a scene that was. That was so good.
Yeah, I was... Can we talk about this entire... So here's the thing. As many
Normally
complaints...
we would go through this in the Twilight, but
no
it
point.
hasn't followed that structure.
It hasn't really followed that at all. Point is, the final, like... I don't know, I guess the last 3 or 4 chapters of this episode are like some of my favorite scenes of the entire first 4 episodes. I just have so many problems with the bits leading up to it. Like, they're a bit poorly paced. But the scene with Battler and Beatrice at the end there, her, like, pleading with him to kill her, Bern and Lambda's, like, turnabout at the end, like, Angie sacrificing herself, like, when that red truth popped up the first time I saw it, I was... my poor heart, like, it hurts a lot.
I think episode 4 is definitely my favorite in terms of, like, overall what happened.
Yeah.
But I think episode 2 is my favorite in terms of how it was written.
That's interesting, because most people say that EP2 is their least favorite. Like, on Rekensma.org, EP2 is currently the lowest ranked episode, which is interesting because I currently find it to be my favorite of all of them.
The thing is as I said a video or so ago, I don't really care emotionally for the story from episodes 1 to 3 that much. Like, that just didn't click with me for whatever reason. Episode 4, I got hooked on the actual story that was being told rather than trying to unravel the mystery.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely less focused on, like, here are the locked rooms and here are the politics between the characters. It's more about, like, let's like learn about Angie.
But yeah, as you say, episode 4 was a bit poorly paced, and that doesn't kill it for me because I still enjoyed the story that they were telling.
Yeah.
I just would have had it told differently.
Yeah.
But in terms of how the stories have been told, this whole first 4 episodes, episode 2 was like, oh, it was beautiful.
It was fucking fantastic.
It was so hard, but still just wide open enough.
It's very well written. Yeah, EP2 is definitely my favorite of the first 4. I won't say which my favorite is of the next 4, but we'll get to it when we get there. I'm trying to think what else I want to, like, bring up while we're on this screen.
Let's go...
Twilights, I guess.
Yeah, let's go through the Twilights.
Might as well.
Just so we have a little bit of structure to work with.
Who the fuck was which Twilight? I've forgotten.
Okay, so...
This is the problem. It matters, like, very little in this game.
So, first Twilight was...
It was Ava Hideyoshi, and Natsuhi.
Rudolph, Natsuhi, and...
Genji, and Genji.
Oh.
Don't forget Genji. Genji's the 6th.
Wait,
so we got 5 siblings
3,
and
4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Well, 5 of the adults and then Genji. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
what do you think happened there?
My theory for what happened here is that they were all shot with guns, Ben.
Sure.
I don't think that's difficult.
That's easy.
But we should come back to this.
Okay. Sure.
So then we had the next thing that we.
It'll be George and Jessica.
Yeah, it was George and Jessica that died. Given the theory that Genji and Rodave are the same thing, and we don't know who Garp is, but whatever.
Someone probably, maybe.
So I feel like Genji didn't die in the first Twilight.
Yep, sure.
Showed himself to Jessica, made her do that whole spiel, and then Jessica was killed a bit later.
Okay.
And here's why, Ben.
Sure,
And this is
why?
what I wanted to get back to. I think the reason that everyone told the same story, all of this bullshit happened, all of these people died, and everyone was still happy to tell this story about the witch, is because it was all a ruse.
Sure. It's all like set up from the beginning somehow.
I think the first Twilight didn't happen. I think what happened is that the culprit, who I'm assuming is Shannon, Cannon, and Beatrice in one person, gathered everyone up and was like, I am the new head of the family, thus the red truth we got about Kinzo being dead and Kinzo also being
How
the
did
name
they
of the new family
convince
head.
everyone of that?
It's a good question, Ben.
Okay.
You know that, tunnel under the island that supposedly was there?
Sure. What about it?
I seem to remember there being gold there in the past.
Okay.
So maybe through some means, I don't know how persuasive this could have possibly been in the circumstance, but by demonstrating that they were, successor to the family by solving the epitaph, maybe.
Oh. You think they might have solved the epitaph?
I think they might have.
Oh, okay.
Now, the problem is that then there's the whole thing is like, I'll stop killing when someone solves the epitaph, and I keep my promises. I feel like because the culprit did it, maybe that doesn't count, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. What's the point of the epitaph in the first place?
That's a good question.
God damn you.
Anyway, point is, I think that the culprit gathered them all there, was like, except the kids, and was like, hey guys, we're gonna do some funky shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what funky shit.
Uh-huh.
I have an idea.
You have an idea?
We'll get to that one.
Okay. There's a lot of we'll come back to this.
Because I'm kind of trying to flow it a bit with the story, just a little.
Uh-huh, sure.
So, the people that were supposedly killed in the first Twilight were still in the mansion, stayed there, probably in the dining room because I don't see any reason for them to have moved elsewhere.
Sure.
The other 5, I don't know where they were taken. I don't know if they went to the thing below the island. I mean, I guess they might have done. But they were like separated, and then who else? Naruto and Godo and Kumasawa.
Godo and Kumasawa was sent to
the be
guest
like,
house.
oh no, this shit's happening, and they're like, oh, look at all of this magical stuff. Something's going wrong. So the process of events. First Twilight, nothing happened. The bunker, they weren't actually trapped. They just kind of made the phone calls to set up this ruse.
Cool. Okay.
There was the scene that I twigged on Kyrie thinking weird in a magic scene, right? I think Kyrie figured out what was going on, that they were actually going to be all killed in the end. I think that's what that scene represented. I think that George was killed probably by the actual culprit. I don't know how, but I mean, a gunshot to the fucking face is still a death, and he was left out in the rain. I think that Genji being, following the new quote-unquote head of the family, then killed Jessica, then gave Jessica this ruse to tell Battler, which is why she's like, oh, half my head's gonna be blown off, but was still fine with doing it. Then was told to wait there for this ruse. Then the people who had been sequestered, who were supposedly in the bunker, were all brought out and told to go to specific places or whatever. I think that the culprit killed them all around then. So Kraus was shot, Nanjo was shot. Kyrie, I had initially theorized was like maybe going to go in and try save Rudolph or something because of like the fact that she twigged on something weird going on, but then that hadn't happened, so I guess maybe it just didn't happen. But basically when Kyrie made the phone call and she's like, oh, I'm being attacked right now. Oh no, whoopsie daisies. Oh look, oh they got me. I feel like that was all still part of the ruse. And then the like holes that he noticed in the floor was Kyrie actually just shooting at the floor to make the sound of the gunshot that we heard over the phone.
Right.
And then who else have I left out? I think that's...
Let's see.
And then the first Twilight...
Kinzo dead at the start. We had it confirmed in red.
And then the first
Maria.
Twilight...
Maria.
Yeah, the first Twilight actually happened, like, at the end.
Yeah.
The culprit did all of that. I don't know how Maria was killed.
So she was found with, like, spit out her mouth, and Butler thinks she could have been poisoned.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have it
the-
confirmed that Maria was dead, I don't think.
I mean, you can execute her and check, but I'm pretty sure she was dead.
I mean, it doesn't... It's just Battler's interpretation. I still think it might have just been, like, she had a lot of the... Because the thing is, like, it could be poison, which would make sense. It would work. But then at the same time, we haven't been shown any poison beforehand. The only, like, evidence of chemicals that we've had is sleeping pills or something that Rosa had in episode 3 for Maria. So maybe she was just knocked out on those and wasn't actually dead.
Maybe.
I don't think that's important for unraveling how. But if Maria was familiar with who the culprit was as, like, her witch friend, then it's fine that she would have been like, yeah, take this. I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely, like, the weakest part of this whole thing, but I also don't think it's a problem in terms of actually solving anything. It's just another question that needs answering.
The question is, like, if Maria was, like, if we assume it's humans, then somebody had to give her either a tablet or a poison apple or something.
Yeah.
Like, then what is she doing in the room with all of the mangled bodies? I guess is the question then.
I mean, I'm assuming that the culprit or something brought her back there. I don't know. I don't think it's a problem. It's definitely a question that I would like answered. It's definitely something that I'll poke into, but I mean, the evidence we were given is that she was told to go to the chapel. There were keys left there, and then she was supposedly dead in the dining hall.
Yep, she was over in the dining hall.
Like,
the chapel
I don't know what I'm
supposed
supposed to glean from that, but she's dead, and it looks relatively peaceful.
Okay.
But the first Twilight actually happened at the end when the culprit went back to finish off what had initially been a ruse.
Yep.
And then I think that's everyone dead.
Yeah. Well, except for the culprit, obviously.
Except for the culprit. Cannon's body was missing, and Shannon was found near a grate, right?
Yep.
I think the gun's at the bottom of the well.
You think so?
I think she shot herself in such a way that it dropped.
Cool.
Because to solve the episode 2 death of Shannon, that was what I used.
Yeah.
And I am fine to use that again. Plus, I think the idea that Cannon dropped down the well was perhaps meant to be symbolism.
Cannon is symbolic for the gun, I guess.
Perhaps.
In that sense. Sure.
But the culprit committing suicide is not out of the question in terms of murders. Plus, if we also assume that my theory about the Beatrice personality loving Battler is correct, when Battler's like, I don't remember this, I don't know who you are. If the culprit was so emotionally devastated they decided to just go leave Battler by himself on an island?
Yeah.
There you go, that's how they did it.
Maybe. Yeah. They're pretty sad, but what
Yeah,
do you do?
because, okay, and the main things are for this, that it doesn't make sense that everyone was going along with it. It doesn't make sense that the remaining relatives were going along with it if their partners...
We forgot someone.
What?
Kurosawa. We didn't talk about how did that shit happen.
How did that happen?
Which is so sad.
I don't know.
But they're so irrelevant.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they were shot through the window. They were told to... they were like...
Yeah.
There was a ruse and they were told to just stand there and be like, cool, looks like you're hanging. Nice work, guys. I don't know. It sounds like a load of shit. In terms of a closed room...
The key was attached, or it was in his trousers and it even had the nameplate attached. So it was nice and easy to figure out what key that was.
I mean, I could do the same thing I did for Jessica's room in episode 2 and be like, but he didn't try the key.
Well, he definitely didn't, so I guess so. You could sit through that maybe.
But, I don't know. I don't think... they were like, oh, you could shoot through the window, but it'd be ridiculous if they died that way. But if you told them to stand completely still and then shot them both through the window, it wouldn't be too weird, right? Like...
It's pretty messed up that they wouldn't, like, move out of the ropes or try to slip out, though.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Like, one person gets shot, and then the other person's, like, struggling with, with the rope. I don't know.
But Ben, what if it was Trap X?
Oh, what if it was
small bombs in their heads?
Is it time to move on to the epic showdown at the end?
No.
Can we talk about it?
No.
What? Oh.
Because
I'm ready for it.
What do we still have left? There was something I was going to address before you told me about...
It's literally everything. Kinzo was dead from the beginning.
No.
All that was horseshit.
I've forgotten something.
Oh, rip.
Alright, I was going through why I think this theory works.
Right.
So, nobody seemed to have any problem that everyone had died. Everyone was just going along with it, which doesn't make any sense. Including the partners of the people that had supposedly died in the first fight. They're like, yeah, magic and shit. That's right. If we're assuming no magic theory, then that has to be false in some way, and the only way that I can think that would work is if they were told that it was a ruse. The other thing was, there was something that Kyrie said on the phone, which was referenced at the end when Battler was like exploring the house, and he's like, and Kyrie is like, yeah, no, that's right, she said like, look for the bunker. Now, in my theory that the island fucking blows up at the end of this shit, if Kyrie had actually been in and had twigged on the ruse, then maybe she's like, Battler, get the fuck out of there, you're the only one that can survive.
Right.
That's the other, like, thing
that is definitely something to pick up on, the way that Kyrie kind of speaks. It almost sounds like she's telling about, like, don't fuck around with this. Like, you just need to leave, right? If you don't take her literal meaning of, like, there are witches, like, she's saying, no, this is something that will kill you if you stick around.
So yeah.
Get out.
That was my reasoning for why I think that works. The thing is that it's a really weird fucking stretch, because it means that I was complaining in episode 2, it didn't make sense that there were like 5 accomplices, and now I'm saying that there were 16 accomplices.
I mean, here's the thing. If you,
or not 16. How many am I adding up? 15?
However many there are.
Too many.
Too many. Point is 14. I mean, I guess it depends if in your theory you're counting Ken and Shan as accomplices, and I guess Kinzo also. Because if Ken and Shan are part of the culprit, then you got even less.
Yeah, 14.
Point is, a lot of accomplices. Of course, if you accept that as a premise, if you say this is the theory, this is what I'm going with, then I feel like this is the point where we can go back to previous games and say, well, if there is method X for getting this many people to cooperate with you, then what about the previous games? Because you've theorized like other accomplices, and I've always been like, well, there's like, why would they kill their own friends and family? But if they're like if you've got this theory of like it's a ruse, like maybe there's something you can use there, maybe there's some method there you can apply to previous games. Because one thing that Rikushi is really big on is reframing his older work. Like the clues that we get in this can easily be taken and applied.
Yeah. So I mean. Let's go to the showdown at the end then. Let's talk about that.
Let's do it.
I've already thrown my theory out on the table for all of the first 3 episodes. You can go to the answer section at the back of your book to see that they're right.
Yeah, totally. But well, we should talk about that.
So yeah, do you have a list of the truths that you can pull up that Battler used?
The blue truths?
Yeah.
There's probably a list. Let me have a look here. I mean, it'll probably just be being like, this is bullshit, but I can pull it up. I've got the red truths page already open if you want to just use that.
I mean, you can just flick between tabs, right?
Well, I gotta search
Plus,
for
Beatrice didn't deny a lot of it because she was the actress of the year or something.
It's true. She just let everything ride right to the end. Blue truth. Here we go.
But yeah, so we had...
Aoki Shinjitsu. That's its name in the Japanese. Authentic Japanese. Alright, let's go. As a rule introduced... a bunch of stuff about the blue truth. Oh shit. The very first one, Alliance of the Golden Witch. Shiromiro Kinzo is already dead, therefore the true number of people in the island is 17 even. By adding an unknown person X to that, it becomes 18 people. By supposing this person X exists, the crime is possible even if all 17 people have alibis.
Now,
so
here's the thing.
That got denied because there's 17 people.
Here's the thing for me though, is at the end of episode 3 when I was like, shit, how is this done?
Yeah.
I didn't initially think that Kinzo was dead.
Right.
So the whole like number of people problem.
Yep.
Wasn't like playing into my mind when it came to trying to resolve Shannon and Cannon as one culprit.
Sure.
What it actually was is like, shit. everyone is dead. I didn't think that there was any way for anyone else onto the island, which I still think holds.
Sure.
And then basically I was like, well, how the hell do I get this to work? So I went backwards through the end of episode 3, and the characters that we had appear was like Jessica, Nanjo, Ava, Battler, and Ghost Cannon.
Ghost Cannon. It's like Ghost Rider, but it's like a furniture chair or something.
Yeah.
Like a lawn chair.
And I was like, okay, well, Ghost Cannon is the most suspicious of these.
Ghost Cannon.
What can I find about Cannon? So I went back and I was like, okay, well, what can I find about Cannon? And after a little bit of poking around mentally, I was like, wait, are Shannon and Cannon ever in the same room at the same time as Battler?
Right. Mm-hmm.
They aren't.
Yep.
Ever. And I was like, oh
my.
So I went through and I was like, okay, well, let's just ignore the red truth that they're dead, and would this work? And it did.
Cool. Okay.
And then when I got to episode 1, I was like, wait, but what about the whole thing with Kinzo disappearing? And I'm like, well, he can be dead.
Okay.
Let's just roll with that. And then that resolved the problem of the closed room loop at the beginning of episode 3, because it was like, well, okay, Kinzo didn't do it. It was actually just that the culprit switched places, because it was the first and last one was Shannon and Cannon. And in episode 1, if Kinzo was already dead, it didn't fucking matter. He wasn't a problem there. And then Kinzo didn't appear at all in episode 2, as far as I recall, except right at the end when he's like, Battler, welcome to my study.
Welcome to here with Beatrice, having a great time.
And then the witch told everything.
Yeah, and then the witch told everything.
It all made sense. Yeah, so that was kind of like the progressive thought on that. I don't know what else we can go through.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading through the Blue Truths now. Most of it is like either stuff that you said in the video, like, that's stupid. Yeah, I don't know, like, if there's anything to go through in terms of Blue Truths.
So we might have had a cut here because we're just investigating a bit of stuff. Just
all
to
bullshit.
Make sure we've covered everything. But I think now would be the perfect time to talk, Ben, about why I hate small bombs and traps.
Why do you hate small bombs?
First of all,
and
small
traps?
bomb memes, go.
Yeah, there they are.
Look at them,
They're
beautiful.
Throw a best mom meme in the corner.
Just in the corner.
Just a small one.
We might have addressed this before, but oh my god, I want him to stop using traps.
Why do you hate traps? It's a lifestyle choice.
They're awful, Ben. Traps in murder mysteries. I'm not much of a murder mystery reader, but it is such a fucking cop-out.
It's true.
If there is a trap at any point in this story or any mystery that I read, I want it to be we walk in and go, oh, there's a trap.
Oh shit, they've been hit by a trap.
I want to then figure out...
Because then the murder mystery becomes like, who set the trap? Who had the opportunity to? How do they get the parts to make it? Because if it's just some bullshit...
a regular just trap just hiding away where no one can see it is just a load of shit.
There are a lot of... I've heard about how there are a lot of mystery like solutions to Umineko that were like, well, there are clearly vents and there are like little dart throwing little things in the vents that shoot sleeping or poison darts at people.
It's awful.
Like that bit at the end there where Battler's like, here are all these crazy theories, like clearly is made to just make fun of those people.
Yeah, that was definitely to make fun of some people.
Because people are fucking stupid. No offense, y'all.
Have a dig, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, the whole thing is that if I'm meant to be solving a mystery, having a trap in there is not conducive to an entertaining story at all.
It's not a very fair story either. So like have details that aren't presented to you.
Like, it's entirely possible, but it's much in the same way as when, I think it was in episode 2, Beatrice in Purgatory was like, a famous detective could walk into this space and say, oh, there's no hidden room here.
Yeah.
It's in that vein.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. I'm gonna pull a thing up. You keep talking.
Pull a thing up.
Keep talking.
But the whole thing is with traps in the terms of mystery novels is that I don't think they make much sense as a murder device because it kind of gets rid of the whole aspect of trying to figure out who did it, because then there is no point in having an alibi for the person, because it's like, oh, the trap was there and then it's not there, so it could have been there, it could be hidden. It's just a mess in terms of establishing alibi. It's a mess in terms of establishing motive because, you know, we don't know why they choose to set a trap rather than doing it personally. We don't know, you know, how they know that the trap's gonna work. like, it still has a valid place, but I think if a trap shows up, and Ben's agreed with me on this, it should be the first thing that we see, and then we try and unravel who, what, when, where, how, who, what, when, where, how, what, why? Yeah, that's right.
In a murder mystery, the who done it, the how done it, and the why done it. Those are the three important things. That's what you're looking for.
Those ones. I normally go for a list of 5 because I like saying less things faster.
Stories, but yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, I think traps are a nonsense device. Small bombs, even more nonsense.
Yeah, a load of bullshit. I'm just trying to find this, but it's in here. It's in here. I'm trying to find. There's a bit where she basically talks about like people who ask for like answers to the mystery and like fairness of a mystery, that sort of thing.
Is this like an interview or something you're reading through?
It's a tip. It's an unofficial tip added to like a wiki after EP5 was released or EP4. I don't know. Some of these are released after EP5, but I don't think this one was. Okay, so here it is. So this is Rikushi writing this. He says, historically great detectives look up at the skies at the scenes of the crimes and before anything ask the almighty God, in brackets writer, is this world piece of work an authentic mystery possible to deduce? Then God answers like this. Yeah, this piece of work is an authentic mystery, and so it's definitely possible for you to solve it as well. Relax and make your deductions. Then when the detective thinks, good to hear it, relaxes and is able to challenge the mystery, he strokes down his chest and finally begins to investigate the scene of the crime. Even in real murder cases, certainly a scene like this might happen too. After the police blocks the circumference of the scene of the crime, keeps the media at a distance, the detectives clap their hands and look up to the skies. God, would it be possible to solve this case? If you don't tell me that, we won't be able to investigate or make deductions. Anyway, there's this whole spiel. The tip in question is called anti-mystery versus anti-fantasy, which is something we should also talk about. Basically, if you've written a murder mystery in such a way that the reader can't, like, they don't have all the clues, then what's the fucking point? At the same time, we don't want the murder mystery creator to be like, this is the answer, and the answers are on page 52 in the guidebook. You can read all of the answers. But, like, it should be a fair mystery if we're, like, reading this and trying to solve it as a piece of entertainment, I suppose. And, like, I don't know. I just think it's really interesting reading about how Ryukishi kind of approaches the writing. He also talks about the last part queen problem, which is basically the idea that you can, like, if he had written EP1, have one solution, then written EP4 with a separate solution in mind and essentially rewritten the previous story, like, that would be a load of horseshit. It's a really good tip, just to see how little horseshit is in this story. But basically what I'm trying to say is he's not the kind of person who would put fucking traps in his novels, because they're stupid.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think, having agreed on this wonderful thing about traps and fantasy and mystery, Ben.
Yeah.
I think to the audience it is very obvious at this point that we are at a bit of a loss for what to do at the end of episode 4.
I don't think so.
Because I feel like I've solved things.
Well, there's more things to talk about. If you'd like, I could pose to you what the fuck was the point of that entire sequence at the end. Battler versus Beatrice. If he just posed a bunch of blue truths that weren't true, what the fuck was the point of that scene?
What do you think, Ben?
I mean, I know what the point of the scene was. I'm not telling you.
Are you sure?
I am. I understand the story.
Ben?
I am certain.
Oh.
But I want to know what you think, because this isn't like the murder mystery, but it's part of the story. And I think that there is mystery there. There are a lot of things going on, and you said a lot of things during the story, trying to figure out what was going on, and I'd like to know what your impression is at the end.
Of that whole scene at the end?
Yeah. I mean, not with the two witches, with Battler and Beatrice, just to be clear.
I know, but okay. My question is that I felt that the purpose was relatively obvious, but I'm assuming that when I say purpose, I mean something different to what you're saying.
What was the purpose?
Because I feel like the whole purpose was what Lambda said, where Beatrice was like just playing cards to make Battler think that he'd gotten a strong attack when he hadn't really.
I mean, she didn't though, at the end. She just let her arm fall and then said, "Who am I?" And that was the end. She didn't counterattack, she didn't laugh. She just let it drop. Do you think that was all an act?
I mean, to an extent. I mean, I feel like that's what Lambda was saying, where she's like, oh, look, Beach is doing a wonderful job making Battler think that he's done so well. I can't wait for her to crush him. At the same time, tying back it into my theory about the Beatrice personality of the culprit loving Battler, it would make sense that, like, if they're represented by the same character, by the same mental state on the board as they are in Purgatory, then it would make sense that the culprit would be like, please, like, figure out who I am. Because, you know, if it is the love between the two of them, then maybe that's what the culprit's really there for.
Beatrice said that she couldn't win.
Yeah, and then the whole thing with that, like, flash-up letter we got, it's like, please kill me, right? It's like, get rid of the personality Beatrice, I don't want to be this. Like, maybe she wants to go back to the state that she was in before the Beatrice personality was created to, like, sequester this emotion.
Maybe. Maybe that's it. I just wanted to make sure you were thinking about that scene, because, I don't know, I really love Beatrice. Like, that's a thing. I love her as a character. I love watching her go between the acts as she does. And I think trying to decipher how much of what she says is true and how much is not true is core to this story. You've said multiple times that in solving the actual murder mystery, that finding contradictions and assessing abilities and opportunity for murder, that sort of thing, is important. I think that you can take the same philosophy and apply it to the way that the characters talk with each other, particularly Beatrice. I think that looking at what she says and trying to figure out her motivation for saying the things that she says is very important and core to this story. Maybe less so to the murder, the how done it, and even the who done it, but certainly the why done it. And I know it's a bit of an ask to get you to, like, go back and look through all the dialogue she's ever said, but I think it would behoove you to take a look through and try and sort through it.
Yeah.
Because there definitely is a question that the novel is asking of how much of what she's saying can you trust. And Battler even says in Red, you can't trust anything that isn't in red. That's just the thing that the novel says, which I find very interesting. Yeah, I would just encourage you to do that. And to approach it with love, which, as I've said, is a cheesy thing, but it's a thing you should do. Something the novel encourages you to do, and something that I would encourage you to do.
Yeah, I feel like that whole thing where I'm saying that the Beatrice personality loves Battler has kind of opened up a whole new window of opportunities in terms of ways to approach the story for me. So I'm going to, before we tackle Chiru, try kind of expand that.
Well, you have a whole day to do it, so perfect.
No, we are not starting tomorrow.
Ah.
We are not starting tomorrow.
Yeah, I would look forward to seeing you try and pick apart some of the stuff she's saying. So I think there's more there. And yeah, you've certainly got some time. I give you 3 days.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess this is a slightly shorter finale episode. Oh, but not by much.
I mean, we'll probably cut out a bit.
Yeah. But yeah,
Anyway,
I don't know. I don't have too much more to say.
I hope you've all enjoyed.
Yeah.
I really hope you've all enjoyed all of the core arcs.
Yay.
This has been so much fun for me.
I know.
I am not much of a mystery reader. I'm not much of a Japanime man.
Funnily enough, I'm not a mystery person either, but Umineko sunk its hooks into me and was like...
This is just great fun. Like some of the writing is clunky.
Don't worry about it.
Some of the stories, like, what? But the actual mystery that it's asking you to solve is so well done.
Yep. It's because she's at magnum opus.
Like... There is still every likelihood that I am completely wrong thus far, but the fact that there is that much misleading evidence, if that is the case, is pretty wacky, which means that there's probably even more evidence for the actual truth. And even then, as you said during the epitaph video during episode 3, the way that Ryukishi writes is that he puts a whole bunch of hints so that when you finally catch on them, you're like, oh, of course.
It makes so much sense.
And I feel like that's the point that we're getting to.
Yep.
I don't think episodes 5 to 8 are going to be as easy as I am now finding episodes 1 to 4. And as you say, I feel like that's probably intentional on Ryukishi's part. I felt like the end of episode 3 really gave away a lot. And I reckon that's kind of part of the premise of episode 4, is that you're meant to know more than Battler in Purgatory does.
He's incompetent after all.
Yeah, so... I am fully expecting Ryukishi to open episode 5 fully prepared for my current theory, and I'm really excited to see where it goes from here.
I'm excited too. Let's go and let us know in the comments.
For you guys watching, it'll be absolutely no break whatsoever.
It's true.
But again, I hope you've really enjoyed, and we'll see you in Chiru.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, guys. What did you think, everyone?